Love your family. I know sometimes they're hard. I know sometimes they're critical, opinionated to the hill, but just love them because you never know, what's going on in the background.
Yeah.
Just love them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spread that love.
Love really does make a lot of things better.
I know it's hard for a lot of people because they're hurt and they're like, okay, I don't want to get hurt again. Life is too short to be in regret mode. I'm older in my ages now. I'm a lot older than you. But I have learned a lot that in life, we have to live in the moment, love everything, and learn from a young age. When you want to do something, don't let people say, no, don't do that. That's going to take too much work, too much money. Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because then it'll be too late and you won't have, look at me, I'm starting my own career at this age.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that.
Welcome to Connecting the Dots. I'm your host, Jessica Carice, and this space is a place where you talk about seemingly random topics, but in all actuality, they're connected together. And today we have a very, very special guest. We met at a TEDx after party in Miami a few weeks ago. Her name is Diane Brown, and she is a powerhouse realtor who's actually native to Florida. She was raised in Miami Beach up until the age of 18. And Diane, she got into real estate because she needed to get into it out of necessity and love. She was a caregiver to her parents, and finding a home that would truly meet their needs, one that was comfortable and accessible and suited to their lifestyle, was very, very, very important. Their experience opened her eyes to the world of real estate and investments, sparking a passion that has since become her career. Diane, you're such a lovely person. Thank you so much for being on my show.
Well, no, thank you for inviting me. I'm so excited.
So tell me, like, you had this passion sparked for helping your parents. Do you want to dig into that story a bit to, give some more context into what really, truly, really sparked your passion during that time?
Sure. So it was really all unexpected. My mom would call me randomly, very scared, sometimes nervous, and I was working, so it was kind of difficult. And finally, I said, all right, I'm just going to fly down there and find out what is going on, because I was living in New Jersey. I'm a Navy wife, so we were stationed up there. And so I came down, and when I showed up at the door, she's like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I'm here to see what's going on. Because she was scared.
Yeah.
And my stepdad wasn't doing well. She did not know and did not realize he was in the middle stages of dementia.
Oh, that is tough.
Until yesterday, she does not recognize that he had this. Because obviously, he was the love of her life, and he was, a partner, and she never wanted to ever admit that there was something wrong with him. And I didn't know. I thought he was fine. But then I stayed with them for a couple of days, and I'm like, Mom, there's something else going on.
Wow.
The job that I had at the time, coincidentally, I was working at an assisted living.
Wow. Wow.
I saw the signs everywhere. I broke my heart to tell her, but I was able to get her alone for a couple of minutes. And I said, I'm sorry to tell you this, but he's declining. He was definitely sundowning, which, when the sun starts to set, they start to, their mind starts to go off. And if they were not a nice person, they actually become a very nice person. And if they were a nice person, they become a very mean. It's like I don't, you know,
Interesting.
the signals. Anyways, not to go off on the deep end, that's how it started because he no longer could take care of her. Her nerves, like she had anxiety out the window, like crazy. So she couldn't take care of him. And I had to go back to work. So when
Wow.
I went back, I had to talk with my family. I am a mother of three. All my children are adults. So my son was a freshman in college, actually
Mm.
here in Tampa.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so you know, it was just really like, what do I do? You know, I can't leave them alone. I gotta help them. So I gave notice. I gave my job a month's notice. I gave my mom notice, and I went down there.
Wow.
And it, you
Wow.
know, it took a couple of months because I couldn't just stay. I had to, you know, kind of ease in for him. But that's how it started. I started to stay with them, and the place that they were living was very nice, but a lot of things bothered him. The parking lot was a big issue.
Mm.
So I'll give you a scenario. Wednesday mornings, the landscaper would start at 7:45 with
Yeah.
the blower.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping in the living room because another side effect is it's a bit of a hoarder.
Mm.
So I couldn't sleep in any of the rooms. I had to sleep in the living room. He'd run out of his room in his underwear screaming like a lunatic. We have to get up. We have to get up. We have to go move the cars. They're going to ruin my car. I was asleep. And now I'm woken up all of a sudden. He's running out the door. I'm trying to, because he's in his, you know, little white tighties. And I'm trying to bring him in. I said, okay, I'll take care of it. So I had to go. We had to, every Wednesday, we had to do this because he forget all over again. So every Wednesday it was like a new thing. And this was not a good situation. That is why I had to find something that was very specific to his needs. A lot of things, noise, people, crowds, it was, we went to like 20 different places. I was exhausted. I didn't know what else to do. So we found a place with a garage. Hallelujah. And this place here where I'm currently at. And then I had to get them out of, I had to do like a covert operation. So I had to, because I had to pack him up, but he couldn't
Yeah.
be there because I tried and he got very upset and violent. So
Uh,
I had to go to a hotel. It was pretty
yeah.
traumatic, but I was okay with it because I knew, you know, his mind couldn't handle it. He was
Yeah.
declining fast. And my mom,
Uh,
again, not recognizing it at all. I said, Chris, you have to come down, my husband. Babe, you're going to have to stay with them in the hotel. And I'm going to pack up their house and unpack it. So I tried to do this within a 2-week time. It was just craziness. It was angels appeared, helped me, showed up. I mean, we had to transform this whole house. You know, I had to unpack everything because he couldn't see the boxes. He could, you know, I couldn't have things undone for him. It made him very edgy.
wow.
Anyways, the reveal, I videotaped it when they finally came in, and he was crying, and my heart was just you know, melted. And it was, you know, very emotional because he, you know, lived his last months here, 9 months was here, very happy. Every day called me. If I wasn't here, he would call me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was just something very, very moving. And I just, we went to see so many properties. I'm like, I could do this. Like, that was a lot of detailing, information. And, but I enjoyed it. And, the fact that he was so happy, I wanted to get that for everybody. Does that make sense? I wanted everybody to have that joy.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
That's so sweet, Diane. Like, that is so sweet. Your goal is to have everyone have that little spark of joy with the new place that they're going to live. And the fact that you were able to do that with someone that has dementia because they hate moving, they hate new environments, anything different, no.
Correct. It was
So
tough. It was very tough.
But you got the joy though,
Oh, gosh. I will have that forever. Moving is stressful. Packing is stressful. People get upset, things break, things get lost, misplaced. I know. I was a Navy wife. I moved every 2 to 3 years. I understand it. It doesn't have to be that way, though. I always try to put a spin on everything and look at everything with a cup half full.
Yes.
And make it an adventure. My kids and I were usually alone. So I was always telling my kids, we're going to go out and then we're going to explore and we're going to do this and we're going to set it up and we're going to clean house and this is going to go away. And, so that's what I do. And
Yeah.
it was an experience of a lifetime. And now it's changed my life because I want to do this now. And I want to also, because I had to learn about investing, I had to learn about certain things to get them out of the financial situation that we're at to put them in a better, safer place.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned a lot of stuff. And, I kind of want to share it. I want to share it with everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me, like, one thing I've experienced about finding the thing that gets that like makes you tick, that makes you like, yeah.
Mm.
What was like your energy levels like when you were working at the assistant nursing home in Jersey compared to your life now?
Well, I wish I could put my one coworker on this podcast because I still speak to her, Carol Bennett. She is a nurse, super smart, amazing, so amazing, and she has worked in several facilities and buildings. And she said that she had never met a business office manager like myself. I got my CALA right after she got her CALA. So we were, able to have that connection because we just wanted what was best for the residents when we lived in the community. And my position, I also had to have an interest in the employees. I had to make sure that they were happy, that they didn't want to leave, and that they felt safe.
Mm-hmm.
So because it was 24 hours.
Yeah.
So I also put together all kinds of training. I would do all kinds of parties. I would do treats, events, and my director let me take over because it just we had an event coordinator for the residents, but we didn't have anything for the team, for the working force. And then even like when we would do our Monday morning meetings, I would do something silly. I'm very bad at karaoke, but I broke out in my favorite song.
Oh.
And they love that.
Yeah.
They're like, Diane, you just put everybody at ease. And then it was easier to get down to business.
Yeah.
And get stuff done. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
nobody was like, okay, we're going to talk about this and this, but everybody was at ease and we're like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. Okay. The tasks, make sure you're done. Give me an update. It was an easy transition.
That's nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you're always the type of person to liven up an environment, put some structure and order in place. And then it sounds like you've always had that heart of service.
Yeah, I mean, without even knowing it, it just came natural and I just did it.
Wow. So were you the same type of person in your childhood as well?
Well, my brother and I are a year apart, so I was very protective over him,
Mm,
which he didn't like because I was a girl, and
yeah.
people wanted to beat him up because the big sister always wanted to protect him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know
Yeah.
if it was a love-hate kind of relationship as we got older, because he's like, "Yeah, you're not coming, we're not hanging out," type of thing, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Why?"
Yeah. 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 So you're the protector, you're the energizer, you bring structure and order, and you love to serve.
I do. I do like to serve. It is it's a passion, but it's also a detriment
Mm,
because I
okay.
do it too much. And sometimes, my family will fall behind because I'm concerned about everything else. And then I forget, and okay,
Ah,
let's get my priorities in order.
Fascinating. That's fascinating. That's fascinating. Yeah, I think and the reason why I say that's fascinating is because like right now it's just me and my husband. And so like we kind of make it work where like, my schedule is flexible enough, where we can segment some time during the day a little bit to spend time. And then like in the evenings, that's where I work on a lot of my deliverables. But we have like a good balance because it's just us. But then like we both tend to work a lot. So what will it be like when you have kids? So I know it's hard. It's a hard balance because your work is what, titillates you, it's like what keeps things stimulated. But equally, your family, of course, right? But it's just two different parts of you, So yeah, and especially if you yeah. So like what are some of the what are your do you have like trigger words or something for your family to let you know if you've been working too much, or like how do you, or safe words, I guess, or like how do you balance all that out?
Well, I'm Hispanic, so we're very touchy-feely, and my husband would just, grab me and hug me. He's like, "Okay, it's me time." And then my kids would be like, "Okay, mom, it's me time." So I guess that would be the trigger.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I would say, yeah, we have I think we have a similar thing too, where I'm like a little bit more obnoxious about that because I like acting like a big kid with him. And then he'll just like come sit in my office and just sit there. And I'm like, all right. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
hard because when you love what you do, when you enjoy your job, it's hard to separate because you're trying to make everybody happy. And
Hmm.
that's, unrealistic. So, sometimes you have to give up. You got to do a little give and take.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So like tell me about like so with your parents, that was your most memorable in your career. What was like would you say is like the next runner up when you were serving someone outside of your family, like your biggest like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy I was able to be part of this.
Well, what came to mind was we were stationed in Millington, Tennessee, and I had just had my son. So I have a brand new baby, and my husband was working on the base, but unavailable, and which is usually the case. So it's nothing new. But I have a brand new baby and two older. He's the third.
Hmm.
So anyways, so I, turned to my church, and as I always do, and I volunteer for everything and anything. So I'm the Eucharistic minister, I'm the youth director, I'm this and that. the best time we ever had is we would have sleepovers at the church because my priest there was phenomenal, Father Carroll. Oh my goodness. And he was like, okay, Diane, you do whatever you want. And because usually youth group is 13 and up.
Mm-hmm.
So my youth group, because I had little kids, was from little to up, but I separated them in different rooms and sections. So the little kids would also participate. It wasn't just CCD because I'm Catholic. And so we would do that. And my husband and I would get a couple volunteers. A couple of the parents would help us out because, the sleepover was with an all-nighter. You never slept.
Yeah.
You have to watch everything. And these couple of kids of mine at that church became very, very special. We had this one young man. His name was Ryan. He was adopted by his grandparents. I'm getting emotional because it was a good time. And we did the Passion
Oh, wow.
in the Mass. And Father Care, like I said, Father Care just let us do. And my kids took it on. We rehearsed it. And we did the play during
Wow.
Mass.
Wow.
And I don't know if you know the Passion. You're like
Yeah.
in church for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
So we did the play, and the kids, what I did with the kids was I had them sitting in the pews, and we were sporadic. It's giving me chills. I
Yeah.
had them sporadic in the pew, and the young man that played Jesus, he walked in barefoot. I mean, it was just, they took this on like it was a real production. And we played it for the 4 masses that Sunday. That's my fondest memory because I feel like I really reached those kids.
Oh, that is so sweet. That is so sweet, Diane. Oh my gosh. That is so sweet.
That was a
And
fun one.
yeah. Do you stay in contact with them?
We do. Not everybody, but we do keep in
Yeah.
contact. Facebook helps. Back in the
Yeah.
day, it was MySpace.
Yeah. Yeah. And how are they doing now?
They're the grandparents have passed, but some of the kids, are all good. They're all good kids. They're all successful
Oh.
humans.
Oh, that is impactful.
That is very
Oh, I
impactful.
don't take the credit for all of it. Like I said, it was a youth group.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
built it. They did it, and I
Yeah.
was just there to direct.
But so like let me tell you, for me, the adults in my life that even gave some type of direction were so impactful on me. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, it was just some direction, but people need direction, Diane. Like,
I know. I
it's,
know. No, I
you
know they
know,
did. They definitely let me know. Um, I was glad to do it. I was glad to do it. As long as my kids can partake, I was happy to be there for them.
Mm-hmm.
I know it sounds selfish, but I got so much out of it, me personally. I know I was doing for them and they were getting from me, but the return on that dividend was 10 times the fold.
yeah. Can you share like a little bit more detail, like specifically what changed in you, what moved in you, what did you get out of that experience for yourself?
Well, it's just in everything that I do, I mean, my father and my mom always gave so much. Like they were the examples of how to be. And I remember my mom is Costa Rican and my dad's Argentinian. So we would have family that would just show up in our apartment because we didn't lock the doors back in the day. When I try to find my apartment, they knocked down the apartment building, but I still remember my address. It was 939 Alton Road. And so when we lived there, we never locked the door. And Raynel and I would come home And there'd be people in my living room. We're like, wait, no, are we in the right house?
Yeah.
I'm like calling my parents, and they're like, oh, no, that's family. And I mean, we had just enough money. My father's given away the videotape, given away, the blankets. I don't know. And my mom's like, we're not even done paying it on the Sears card, like something like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So they
Yeah.
always did that. I always remember my father having a block party and cooking for everybody. And
Okay. Yeah. So I definitely see. Yeah, I definitely see the influence. And what's interesting? Like I would classify. I don't know what I classify myself as anymore. Maybe used to, still do, not sure. But as like a really giving person. But sometimes, at times, I don't want to give so much because people take advantage a little bit. And so how are you able to balance out like the givingness and the givingness and the givingness? Because also, like the cultural difference, right? Where it's like there was a lot of camaraderie, I feel like back in the day, where now people are more in a survival mode, right? So how do you balance all of that out?
funny you should say that, because my sister-in-law, Donna, she just said to me the other day, she's like, Diane, you are such a better person than I could ever be, because I don't let anybody in my house. When we stay at her house, it's Fort Knox. Like as soon as I walk in, the door's locked. just it's just, her safety. That's her safety. I mean, sometimes I forget to close my garage. My neighbor has to yell at me, close your garage. I just have a sense everybody is good. It's just how you choose to be you, I feel. And I think in life, people aren't taught to be good because they don't know any better. They're on survival. And I
Yeah.
have met a lot of kids that are in survival mode, and they don't know they're being bad. They don't know that they're breaking the law. They don't know what they're doing is wrong. And so when you talk to them and you tell them, that hurts this person, that hurts this person, let me explain what normally is the good thing and this is the bad thing. They're like, are you sure? No, we've been doing this for years.
Oh.
No clue. No clue. So, it just takes time to build that relationship, which is why I feel that this real estate really, I connected with it, because this is like a level up. You know what I mean? Like this is like a level up to a point where if I can master this, do you know how many people, like in my head, do you know how many people I can help and what I can do? That's like the first thing that comes to mind. Oh my God, I can build this for the homeless, and I can do this for the veterans and for the seniors and for the moms. And let me, it's just my head is like constantly rolling out new ideas.
Yeah. And I feel like that's probably why we connected, because like my head's always like rolling out all these different ideas too. And I'm like, all right, I just need time to catch up with where I'm at, like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Focus on the now.
Yeah, definitely. And like, were you always the type of person to always focus on the now?
Well, I'm the kind of person, I have to have my little pad and my I'm old school. I have day planners everywhere. I love to write everything down. I
Yeah.
like my fancy pens.
Yeah. It's funny because I found the more I get out of my head and write things down, like all the to-do lists and reminders and stuff, because I used to have I'm starting to understand a little bit better how my mind works, but like I would have like this internal checklist and like internal counter of like, okay, I spoke to this person 2 days ago. I think it's time to, so like that's literally, but then I would always be just calculating, right? Like things I need to do when I need to do it. And so then I wouldn't have capacity for anything else. And then I wouldn't be so present. So yeah, to your point, like I started writing things down, all the little checklist things that I didn't really pay attention to before. Yeah. So.
Well, my partner, Stephen Wang, gave me, because I swear to God, he could like read my mind. And he's like, Diane, you are such a giving person. You don't help yourself. You always are looking to help others. But you need to take control of what's in your mind so that you can accomplish it. But you have to put it in your calendar. So he was like, this is how my Google Calendar is, just, because he's like, I do the same thing. And, and I'm like, oh my God, okay. Oh, he's like, just write it down, make a task, attach the document, write some notes, put a time block. And I'm like,
wow. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. It's so crazy how those little things, it's like, it takes such a mountain to actually start it. But when you actually do it, it's so life changing.
it is, because you like free up all this other space. I mean, look, I have lists. I don't know if you can see over here. I have my goal board.
Yes.
That's my son. I have a fat head
so
of my son.
That is so adorable. Oh my gosh.
I have my daughters too, because I don't want them getting jealous. But
Yeah. Oh, that's incredible. I love it. And so, Diane, if you could give like your top 3 pieces of advice to your younger self, what would they be?
go right into real estate. Forget college. Because life teaches you in real estate. Start off with residential, which is what I'm doing. Of course, I started with investments, but that was because I had to prioritize what was going on here.
Yeah.
But start with residential and grow. And as you grow, you learn, you make mistakes, you're going to make errors, but you grow from them, you learn from them. And making errors, I thought used to be a bad thing. Now I know when something bad happened to me, my kids are like, oh my God, Mom, we're going to go broke, this and that. And I'm like, no, I'm going to fix it. Just let me think about it. Let me,
Yeah.
found a solution, got out, was in the black.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
I just, you know what I mean? Like, you got to research and you got to put the time in and you got to give yourself credit. I would sit there and I'm like, okay, Diane, you got this. You got this. Let's just work it out. So I'm talking to myself, which I don't know, people might think that's a little crazy. That's an Aries thing.
Oh, no, I talk to myself. Yeah. All the time.
You do. You come up with, I mean, it took days. It wasn't like, I know the millenniums, like everything's got to be.
I know, right?
That's my daughter. My daughter's like, it's not fast enough for her. And I go, but there's a solution to every problem, and there's a problem to every solution. And just take your time, go step by step, and work it out. And then learn from that, because when you learn from that, you just grew. Like, you're here. You made a mistake. You just grew.
Exactly.
Because you're never going to do that again.
Mm-mm.
You're going to have all those questions that, like, okay, so a coworker of mine, she's like, Diane, I'm doing my due diligence. She was absolutely right. And, sometimes I forget. I'm not perfect. I'm human.
Yeah.
But you do your due diligence, and that is how you grow.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
it's funny
that would
because
be
the more you
thing.
grow. Yeah. The more you grow, the more important is due diligence.
And more successful you become. And before you know it, you'll have a board with your goals, and without even knowing, you accomplished it.
Hmm.
Because that's what happened to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, all that happened. So you're constantly rebuilding your boards, the manifesting. Like, I know a lot of people's like, oh, that's hubbity goobity, whatever. And I said, no, you know what? I'm starting to believe that. No,
Yeah. The thing with the
there's a little truth in that.
manifesting, yeah, it's like a certain combination of things that you need to do all together for manifesting to work.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work by, okay, yeah, I'm going to be rich tomorrow. No,
No.
it doesn't work like that. You definitely have to come with a goal and then break it down and then break it down and then say it. Stephen Wang, he says, Diane, every day you got to speak it to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm name dropping.
Mm-hmm. And have a good attitude while you're doing it. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And that is hard for a lot of people because I don't know, it's like negative nannies.
Yeah, negative. Yeah, negative. I think it's negative Nancy's. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, negative nannies. I don't think that'd be good for anybody. You have the negative nannies.
Oh, sorry. So sorry.
Oh, wait, what?
I'm sorry. Did that go through? I apologize. I'm putting my phone on airplane.
Oh, I didn't hear anything.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So, it's so funny because when I worked at the prosecutor's office, my coworkers, they're like, oh, those are the Dianisms. They would write them down. Because I would change the name of what, they knew because I'm like, I don't know what you're saying, but
Yeah.
okay. I did. I lighten the mood. We worked in the victim witness office. I had to lighten the mood.
Yeah, you definitely have to lighten the mood there. Yeah. No, I definitely have the same thing in common with you. Definitely lighten the mood.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then what's the third thing?
So the third thing, love your family. I know sometimes they're hard. I know sometimes they're critical, opinionated to the hill, but just love them because you never know, what's going on in the background.
Yeah.
Just love them.
Yeah.
Spread that love.
Love really does make a lot of things better.
I know it's hard for a lot of people because they're hurt and they're like, okay, I don't want to get hurt again. Life is too short to be in regret mode. I'm older in my ages now. I'm a lot older than you. But I have learned a lot that in life, we have to live in the moment, love everything, and learn from a young age. When you want to do something, don't let people say, no, don't do that. That's going to take too much work, too much money. Go for it. Go for it. Because then it'll be too late and you won't have, look at me. I'm starting my own career at this age. I'm okay with that. Because I'm very happily married. My husband and I and my children are my hearts and my grandbabies. Oh my goodness. Don't even get me started.
Yeah. And that's like the beautiful thing, Diane, and that's the beautiful thing about life because it's yours, right? You could do whatever you please with it. We have more control over our lives than I think we realize,
Yeah. And I think sometimes people take themselves maybe just a little, just a little too serious.
Yes.
And when that happens, that energy kind of, because I know I remember telling you, I feel your energy. I see
Mm-hmm.
your aura. It was very, very, very welcoming. And I do feel that. I know it. Again, I sound kooky, but
No, you don't sound kooky. I was at, I told you I was at the SVE Expo today, and yeah, no, several people had told me that today. Yeah, it's not spooky.
so, I mean, you do, we're made of energy.
We are.
So, you know what I mean? So when you're not feeling happy, when you're not feeling about yourself or about others, that
Yeah.
energy, it immediately, other people feel it.
It's really true. It's really, really true. Like, even for myself, I think I had a period of functional depression. And then, ironically enough, I didn't have a lot of friends. Like
I
all my
find
old
that
friends kind
hard to
of, yeah,
believe.
I didn't. I didn't have a lot of friends at that time. But there was like a lot I had to sort through, like within myself internally. So, like, there was like functional depression and then codependency and all this stuff. Like, I didn't even realize I had. It just kind of slowly turned into that. And then it was getting to a point where like my body was starting to break down a bit and I got shingles. Yeah. And so when I got shingles, it was like, I really got to make some changes. Right. Cause like I was giving a lot, but it was self sacrificing giving. I wasn't taking care of myself at all. Like I was so last. I was bottom of the food chain, like last. Yeah. And when I went on my spiritual transformation, that was like mid 2023. Yeah, I had to make drastic changes. I had to get out of friendships. I had to take some time away from my family, actually. And I had quit one of my high stress jobs. So I had to quit one of my high stress jobs. And and then I drastically reduced the contract hours I had on a contract. And I was just with myself, and I had to like reprogram myself and readjust to how I look at the world. But yeah, no, it's like I started off like life of the party, like college, like very popular. And then I wasn't prepared for what it's like to be in the world, right? To work and interact with people, what it's like in corporate, all this stuff, because I just got the cookie cutter. Yeah, go to college, you're going to get your dream job, all that stuff. And so then I enter the workforce, and then I'm experiencing all this sabotage, So then it's like, I'm very happy, gonna, start my career. I'm going to change the world. And then just start to just go in this slow decline because I didn't have the tools or anything of how I should operate in these environments. And so then it's just like, and I didn't express emotion. So internalize. And my self-worth was going down. And then, so I would just accept any type of friend, because there was also some of the religious background where I felt like I needed to help people because I'm a Christian. Right. So like I would get friends that were kind of like projects because I have to help them because I'm Christian. That's what the Bible says I need to do. So that I had to undo a lot of that type of thinking and a lot of putting myself last and a lot of how I perceive the world. And then coming out of that and then starting my own consulting firm, networking. All right. I have a whole network now, and I regained my friends really fast. But yeah, when I was depressed and, I had a lot of issues I had internalized. Yeah, no, I wasn't attracting a lot of people in my life.
Yeah, because a lot of people read that and, some people don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
So they just immediately, um, don't want the confrontation or don't want to be bothered. Other people like you gravitated to that because you were trying to fix them.
Mm-hmm.
I did too. I did too.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where I had to sit down and talk to my priest and say, listen, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I'm trying to help these people and they
Yeah.
are mean.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
like, Diane, what is going on? I go, I'm being nice and giving and giving and give. And it wasn't just about giving money or clothes, giving of myself. And they're like, you don't have to do that. I
Exactly.
don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't. And they're
Yeah.
like, no,
Yeah.
you have to give to yourself first, which is a very, very, very hard thing for me. I anybody that knows me will tell you that Diane never does for herself.
Yeah.
So that is hard.
I put in a routine for myself. It's like I
You
had to
have to, right?
logicalize it. Yeah, it doesn't come naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I get you. I get you.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like this real estate, like it's for me.
Yeah.
Like I know I'm working and it's my business and I'm helping them, but I really get so much. I mean, is that weird? I don't know.
No, because I think there should be a sense of fulfillment. It's different. It's different. It's a, I would say you have satisfaction and then you have fulfillment. Fulfillment is really deep. But that's the, like when you're doing something and you see the results of it and you see how much joy, right? Because those are one of the common, fruits of the spirit, joy, right? Those are characteristics of God is joy, right? So you are sparking that joy, the characteristic of God in someone, right? So that's deeply fulfilling on a soul level. I think it makes a lot of sense.
I love it. When I see people happy in their house and what what I'm able to negotiate for them and get, it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
What you do is important, Diane. It's really important. Like, it's make or break. Even for us, how we got our house, right? Like, it's make or break. We got very lucky because the person we worked with knew how to negotiate during a time when the markets were insane. And we got a house. We got a house in 2021, in South Florida. Right? Like, we shouldn't have. But what you do is important. Yeah, it's make or break to someone's life. And since we've been in this house, our life has changed. Yeah.
So
it's important.
You understand.
Yeah, I do.
I hope I can relay that. I'm not just about the business. I'm about, building the relationships, building the friendships, getting to know people, wanting to know what they want, and then it's like a challenge. Okay, they want this and this and this. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to try to get it all,
Yeah. I think you were able to convey that. You, like, during this conversation, you've expressed so much passion about just serving people. Like, you just had story over story of how much you serve. So I think the message is pretty clear that you care about the joy, sparking joy in other people.
Well, I hope so. I know my family, they want more of me.
Of course.
But I keep telling them, you're all adults now. You all can fend for yourselves now. Let me have a little time.
Exactly. Yes. They live their lives. They're adults. Now it's time for Diane to live hers.
I know. My daughter's like, Mom, sometimes I feel like you forget we're just down here. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, you have your grandson. He's here in Marathon. I'm like,
Yeah.
It's never enough.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love it.
And that's the most important thing. You love what you do.
I do. I to the point where I told my my other daughter, Corinne, I go, so Lara Grace is going to come to work with me. I will be training her.
That's so cute.
Well, we're going to do the real estate together.
Yeah.
So, for sure. I
Yeah.
just want everybody to work with me. I'm like, come on.
Right. Like it makes the most sense for people to co-work with you. Like you have to show them what's possible.
There's nobody getting, we're not becoming millionaires overnight, but we will be eventually.
Eventually, exactly, because you just keep at it and you keep with that
That's
consistency.
right.
Mm-hmm.
It'll happen. I
Oh,
know it. I feel it in my bones.
yes. Oh, this is so excellent. Thank you so much, Diane, for coming on the show. Like, you're such a pure heart, such a giver. I love it so much. You're such a wonderful person.
Well, I felt the same from you. Ditto.
And where can people find you?
So I have a website. It's mrsdianebrownrealtor.com. It's a joke of my husband and I. He's Mr. Brown, I'm Mrs. Brown. We are formal with each other as a joke.
That's so cute.
Because we're apart, we're apart a lot of the time. So Mr. Brown, and so my website is Mrs. Diane Brown Realtor.com, and then on Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn, everything is Mrs. Diane Brown or Mrs. Diane Brown Realtor.
Wonderful. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Diane. I love this conversation so much.
Thank you. I had a great time. I hope I did okay.
Of course you did.